Hey, welcome back, Rankers. How you going? Bit of change of pace this week. I've done an interview with a bloke called Michael Tutek. He is the CEO of a company called Preezy.com, a local company, and they've just brought out an AI shopping assistant, which I think you'll find very interesting. I'm surprised it's taken this long for something this good. I think it's pretty good to come out. We talk about a whole range of things, and I'm sure you'll find it interesting. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, tell your friends. Thanks very much. Can you tell us a little bit about, is it Preezy? Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah, Preezy. Yeah.
Preezy. So, Preezy.com?
Yeah, Preezy.com. I mean, it's just the name of the platform. It's Preezy.com, nice and simple.
Yeah. And because when I read up on Preezy.com, you're already doing sort of like loyalty programs and those sorts of things. Is that right?
Yeah. So we've been around for a while now, like five
Yeah.
or so years. So we started off initially with like e-commerce quizzes. So
Right.
the story like effectively goes when I was legally allowed to work, 14 years, 9 months old, because my dad used to throw water on my face to wake me up to help him lift bricks in the old school
Nice.
European. So
Nice.
I got a job like legally allowed to work at the Good Guys.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
always, yeah, like just like, the Good Guys back then in the warehouse. So then I got onto the sales floor and always saw that, people, I basically needed the advice of the salespeople to really like understand what they were doing.
yeah.
Even if they came in knowing what they wanted, they still like got converted and got convinced. So I always thought, hey, why don't we bring in-store shopping experiences online? So, went and
Yeah.
started that. So the initial platform is like an e-commerce quiz platform for retail. And
Yeah.
then we kind of expanded to post-checkout to some of that loyalty stuff.
Right. Okay. And that was probably the main part of the business up and probably still is, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it still is. From a revenue standpoint, it still is.
Yeah.
So effectively what happened was about a year ago, me, my co-founder Kwok, my head of tech, Danny, were just kind of sitting around saying, there is a space for e-commerce quizzes, but it is a pretty niche space.
Yeah.
Like we work with some really good brands. Like we work with JB, we work with Dell US,
Yeah.
we work with, Lego, Mecca. And there are those scenarios where like, hey, spending the time getting these quizzes right pays off. There's dividends there.
Yeah.
To get them really specific, like that really specific needs-based shopping. But with AI, we kind of just thought, hey, like, if there is, 4 million Shopify brands doing e-commerce just on that platform alone, 1%, if anything, are applicable to quizzes. And we wanted to build something that had a little bit more oomph in it, a little bit more modern, a little bit more scalable. So we basically went to Sydney, got invited by Microsoft to go to Sydney to see their retail innovation hub, because we had a good team, we have good customers, we're small, we raised a bit of money.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just started showing us all their Gen AI stuff.
Sweet.
And then we basically came in with an application and said, hey, do you think we could do this, this, this? And the answer was like, yes, yes, yes. So then we started that kind of journey. We started the journey technically in March. So when I said a little over, what I meant is a little under a year.
Wow.
In March
So
this
in March
year.
this year. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's when we started. Like that's when we got familiar with like what's possible and kind of made a commitment to, hey, let's look at this. And then in April, started the actual build phase of it.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I've for those of you who haven't had a play with it, I've been using it on bluebungalow.com.au. Is that the main place where it's been implemented so far?
Yeah. So they're our first. So we are like super, super new. Like the stuff is still pretty cutting edge. It's hard to get it right. So we're not even public. We're not even like, if you're an e-commerce brand, you can't just go buy it. So right now we're just launching a few Shopify and fashion. So we're starting off with Shopify fashion. Nice. So Blue Bungalow is the first.
Yeah.
So we're just learning.
Maybe explain what it is. Maybe explain what it is for those.
Yeah, for sure. So It is an AI shopping assistant. So think about it like this. Imagine getting an in-store salesperson, plugging them online, but merging that with like, your digital sphere. So it will do like product search. It will answer like advice-based questions like styling advice. It will help you find the right size. You can ask it to find you, hey, what shoes bundle with that dress? Or I like this dress, show me similar. You can add to cart. So imagine a mix between like literally a in-store shopping person becoming like a AI shopping assistant for you when you're on sites.
Yeah. I mean, when AI first came out, because we did work a lot with e-commerce businesses as well, and everything you're saying about the surveys and everything else, like music to our ears, because we think that stuff's great, just to find out exactly what people are, because we find that so many e-commerce businesses are just missing out on so much revenue just because of the way the site functions or doesn't function, or the way things are laid out, just simple stuff like that. And certainly from a search perspective, I could see how these chatbots are basically going to take over search as we know it today. And I'm talking Google, and which is why Google has responded so quickly and come up with so many products and all the rest of it. I can see it simply replacing search. And the other side of that was, when I think about it, if I extend that thinking out, it's like, well, why doesn't every store have an AI shopping assistant? And this one I think is really good. I mean, I've used a lot of and we've had some very funny cases. I think it was General Motors in the US where they just had a chatbot up there and people were using it to create HTML and all sorts of things. But this one's really good. I'm quite impressed with what you've done. So can you take us through the process of what was Microsoft's involvement in getting it to this point of a shopping assistant?
Yeah, cool. So I think I'll start off with, like, there are like GPT wrappers.
Yeah.
And then there's actually like a legitimate, application that uses AI in different parts.
Yeah.
So the reason why a lot of these other ones you see where they do silly things, or there was one in New Zealand that like you could get it to like suggest like human meatball recipes and stuff. It was pretty wild. Or I think one in America, like it told the Jeep one, I think it told the customer you can have a Jeep for $1 or something.
Yeah.
So these are like wrappers. They're getting GPT and they're wrapping it. Ours is a lot different. So in terms of Microsoft's involvement, it's pretty substantial. For context, like they gave us some like development resources and time to initially get a POC ready. And then what happened was we ended up doing the POC quicker and faster internally. So I think when they saw this, they just kind of threw some resources at us. So for context, we get like all their technical people on calls. We get like effectively commercial and technical help from them. Like we meet them, often, like once a week. They're even in our internal meetings. We talk to the team in Redmond that's actually in the product development house.
Right.
So it just depends on what we need. Right now, most of it is just, hey, we need some technical advice or help us with some go-to-market. So like, for example, they did like, a story on their technical blog. We presented to their technical team, and that's on YouTube. The other week I met with one of the gentlemen that like is quite high up in startups and retail in Redmond. So it really just depends on what we need. At the moment, what we really needed was just technical help. Yeah. And then in the next 12 months, it will be more so GDM. So they just help. But then, they've also got like different things that we hope to get in the future. Like you can get into certain programs like Pegasus and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, in my experience, Microsoft's actually one of the best companies out there for support and to partner with if anyone's doing anything. That was 20 years ago when we were doing stuff with them. So sounds like that hasn't changed. And they do throw a lot of resources behind good ideas. So.
Yeah, like I know even before this, we got into their startup program. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was 120 grand worth of Azure credits, which is like a lot. When you're a startup, like if you want normal SaaS margins, you can go for it. But let's say you're a startup and you're trying to get going, so you don't want to have the crazy margins.
Yeah.
So you, instead of rolling with a 90% margin, you might roll with a 50% margin, or a 60% margin. So you go, cool. If I can charge out 100 grand, that's going to cost me 40. You know what? It's just getting me started. I can optimize. When you've got the 120 grand worth of credits there, it helps you. Like we've moved past that, but they helped us with that back in the day. So I've always been quite happy with how they help us. And in this case, they took us to Sydney, showed us the whole thing, gave us all the resources, made us understand, gave us tech guys out of the US. So it was really good.
And are the main costs associated for a business? If I'm a retailer and let's say down the track, I wanted to get something like this implemented, where are the costs located? To me, it's fine tuning on the data, it's token costs, it's where else, and development costs, I suppose, on top of that.
Yeah, it's basically just going to be token cost and some database costs. So nothing in fine tuning, because we'll do all that on our end, if it even needs to be done, and no development. So the idea is we're building something that I think is quite special, and I think that's why Microsoft is helping us. So the idea is, you're a retailer. Once this is up, you can sign up to it. It'll cost you nothing. Probably take you. I'm aiming for it to take you less than half an hour to get live. Okay. So like this, part of it is. Part of what's impressive is like this is going to take very little time to get live. And then once it's live, it might just be like, hey, this is X cents a message, 1 cent a message, 2 cents a message, half a cent a message.
Yeah.
And then as we progress, we could probably come up with some kind of package. So the idea is it'll pretty much just be usage based. And then fingers crossed we can get database costs down so you don't have to pay that much for database. But worst case scenario, it'll be like hey, this will cost you X cents per message plus a small database cost. Or if we can swindle it, depending on usage, or just be like, hey, this is $50 a month. This is $200 a month, whatever it is.
Right. And the models themselves, are you using just one model at the moment, or?
Nah, multi-model, different models for different things.
Yeah.
All in the Azure space. But because there are some ones that just struggle to do certain things.
Yeah.
And there are others where you just don't need to pay the cost. So like 4.0, for example, is I think 17 or 16 times more expensive than 4.0 mini.
Yeah.
Not doing batch calls, just on the normal. And it's just like, cool. If I can do this with 4.0 mini, then I'll do it with that. If I can't, so it just depends. And then there's obviously we do a lot with Importer, so there's other things there. We're going to start using some vision. So it just different, kind of horses for courses, if you know what I mean. Just different models do things differently. Some you need more power, some you need less, basically.
Yeah. And how long has it been live now? 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. It's super.
You're not going to have a lot of yet, but what is
not much. So what was surprising is we went live with Blue Bungalow, and their audience is typically older. Yeah. So we actually did some studies, and we found out there are 4 mindsets of AI. So this is pretty interesting. The first is like just kind of younger, just need an excuse to use it, like actually prefer to. Yeah. The second is like your can be convinced, but that doesn't need a lot to be convinced. So they're like kind of open and curious. And then you have your like cynical, which is like, hey, like I will use AI, but you really need to show me that it's good. And then you have your like your haters. Right. And it ends up being 25, 25, 25, 25 roundabouts.
Okay.
And the haters and the cynicals are typically older generation because they're less understanding. Yeah. So what we're finding is, given that the audience is older, the feedback is pretty good. So like it's working well. It's doing what people want.
Because I think the Blue Bungalow demographic is something like 40 to 60-year-old.
Yeah, they're older. Yeah, so they're not you're not looking at 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds on average.
Yeah.
So effectively the feedback is good. Where we kind of expected to get a fair few complaints like, hey, I hate AI and it's taking jobs, because that's what you kind of expect. But we're not getting much of it, which is really positive.
And with the data that's been submitted, like, because I'm the wrong demographic for Blue Bungalow, let's face it.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
I'm not getting. I haven't been prompted to set up an account. I haven't been, but it's obviously it set some cookies because I come back and I've got all that. My history is there in the chat.
Mhm.
What are you doing around the security and privacy and those sorts of things for users? Because
Yeah.
I'm assuming I get a different experience if I set up an account.
So at the moment, it is running it's running externally to other parts of the site.
Right.
So
Okay.
it feels embedded because it's everywhere,
Yeah.
but it's running externally. So you can't set up an account through this. If you
Right.
set up an account in Blue Bungalow, it won't touch this. It's separate. So
Separate.
so what we're doing is we're holding like profile information. So if you start talking to it, hey, I'm Tanya, I'm size 14, I'm this height, I like this, it will remember all that, and then you can ask it like, what do you know about me? And then you can just tell it to delete your data, and it will just clear your profile. So if you say to it like, hey, this is my email, this is my number, it doesn't hold any private information. Like it's prompted to not hold any of that. So it will just, I mean, obviously be in the front end until you clear it, but it's gone. So right now it's external. In the future, it will run like with accounts. But like, crawl before you walk, and then, walk before you jog, and jog before you run type thing.
I mean, it's a hell of a product to get out there in the marketplace. I'm just going to test
Hmm.
that. I'm just going to ask it if it can send me some stuff. So
Yeah, I think if you say to it like, hey, what do you know about me? It will tell you. And then I think if you say, can you delete my data? It will tell you to click the restart. But I think next week or the week after, we're just going to build a front end for profile. So
right. Okay.
you will really enjoy this. But as you talk to it, there'll be something on the front end that like flashes and indicates, and it'll say like, hey, this is your profile, this is what we know. So example, if you say you do a search saying, hey, I'm looking for dresses in size 16, it will
Yeah.
go, oh, blink, blink. Hey, so I've stored that you're a dress size 16. So any dress now you go on, if you just click it open and say, find my size, it will go, hey, based on your regular size of 16, I suggest you go the extra large, or this one runs small, so go the 18, etc. And then you could just click it, you can update it, you can delete it in the future. Right now it's holding it, but we're going to give it a front end, which would be really cool.
Right. It's really I like what you've done with the pop out window for the product. So is that part of Shopify, or is that part of
It's all us.
that's
That's
all
all
it
us.
is?
Yeah. As soon as you're in the widget, everything there is us. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So the whole chat experience there is us. What we will also do probably in the next 2-3 weeks is we'll pull components out so they sit embedded in the page,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's been used to chatbots. Shit, like you like you've said it. This is that, they're always wrong. This
Yeah.
is kind of this is like, it's a chatbot, but it's obviously significantly more than a chatbot. So no one's going to give it that. No one's going to know that for a while. So I think
I know.
we just need to, like, we'll pull out components and embed them in different parts of the page. So like on the PDPs, on the collections pages, and as you said, like at some point it will just be probably in search.
Yeah. And is there any feedback from the client yet? Have they heard much back?
So their general view is like, hey, if it's like no news is good news. So they've had general feedback, which is positive. You always get a couple, because they get a lot of sessions. You always get a couple of people who are like, hey, I don't like AI.
Yeah.
Just kind of letting you know their thoughts. But overall, in terms of numbers and metrics, I can't share too much. But what I will say is, given that a good chunk of the people using it are actually industry people, not like the actual customers,
Yeah.
the
Cool.
metrics are really good. So like the number of people engaging with it is solid. The number of recommendations it's giving for messages sent is really good. The number of add to carts and checkouts are super positive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
And that's considering that, like, I don't know, I'm estimating like a good 20-30% of people using it, because we've done some marketing on it. Like we've done an EDM to power retail, so that's like 10,000 retail people.
Got it. Yeah.
So it's hard to tell because it's so new. Like even you, Jim, you're going on it, playing around. I know all
I'm
these
not going to
industry
convert.
experts and you're not converting. So,
No.
but even then, what's interesting is the conversion numbers are actually still pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think once that kind of dies off, so far, so what I'll say is so far, like so good.
Yeah. Have they given you any feedback? Because I mean, from my brain, from a data perspective, where it goes is, well, what impact is this, say, having on their internal search tool? Or because I don't know about you, but when I use ChatGPT, I'm more likely, or Claude or any of them, I'm more likely to give or ask a long-winded question or a long prompt. Whereas Google, I know I can't do that, so I don't do that, because I know that's going to just give me a rubbish response if I try to go and do that in Google. But in an AI chat tool, I'm more likely to be very prescriptive about exactly what I want. So I'd be very interested to see over time, and there won't be data yet, what happens to the likes of search functionality, and would you see a tool like this replacing, say, a search functionality on a site?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. So I think, like, at the moment, because search is relatively basic. I mean, it's always been text-based. It's only moving to like intent-based searching lately. So everybody's trained, especially on websites, that search is like more like a navigation.
Yeah.
So if you look at any big e-commerce brand and you say, hey, give me your top 100 search key terms. Anyway, we work at hundreds of brands. I've seen heaps of them. It's just it's the same thing. Pants, TVs, Samsung's, iPhone, and you go, all right, cool. And then most of the searches, like Blue Bungalow, along with most, if you type in that stuff, it just like redirects you to the page.
Yeah.
So then search is becoming like more like a quick nav. So I think long term something like this will merge into search. So we will consider whether we just go for the search, because most of the smart stuff in search we already do, and the simple stuff is just like navigation. So I think there'll be a combination. There'll be like hey, I'm looking for, I don't know, tops. Okay, we have 250 red tops. Here they are. Then it's like, okay, if you need more help or you're interested in more details, I am smart enough to help you. So like, then you can go, all right, you know what? If I want to look at 250 red tops, go for it. But if I'm looking for red tops good for work in cotton, ask the question and I'll help you. So I think it will be like a merge of both. Because I don't think you can just replace it, because most people are too used to search just being navigation. Like, it's not even doing anything too smart. It's just saying, oh, pants. And that's like 95% of your search.
Yeah, no. I mean, Google's the same. Like most of Google search these days is navigation, because most people just use the Omnibar in their browser, which is likely to be Chrome, and they're just going to type the brand in.
Yeah, I mean, I use Google Maps more. Like I've come accustomed now. Like GPT is my go-to for like I need information and question answering, and then I've noticed that like I'm typically using
Search
Google
GPT,
Maps. No, I haven't started using Search GTP. So like right now I'm using like Google Maps mainly, and then because I usually need to go somewhere or find something, and then otherwise it's usually ChatGPT. So I'm not using Google as much as I was. Like I think
that's. I mean, I wrote a book about it, but the level of search that has decreased is amazing, and it's happened so quickly, which is why Google's coming out with all the different products and trying to reinvent search, and we've got AI overviews now and all these other things. But I think the fundamental difference here is that people, users, are just going to flock to whatever tool gives them the best results in the shortest space of time. And this isn't, surprisingly, I don't find your tool. You've got to come up with a better name, though. What are we going to call it? Are you going to give it it's got to have a brow, or are you just going to keep with Prezi?
No, Prezi is the business name.
I know. So you're going to come up with a name for this one.
Well, I don't know, because this is the thing. We contemplated with. So right now it's just like we just call it AI shopping assistant.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, and I kind of laugh about this. lots of big brands, because they have the marketing, they can come up with names. So it's like, hey, we're introducing, Lilu, and you're like, oh, that's exciting. What is it? Lilu is going to change the world. And you're like, oh, really? Lilu can do everything that your current site can do, but better. And then by the time you get to page 4, you're like, what the F is this? So I kind of said to the team, hey, like, while the world doesn't really know what's going on, I just want to skip to page 4. And it's like, cool, what is it? It's an AI shopping assistant for e-commerce, fashion, and Shopify. So
you don't need a better elevator pitch than that. I mean,
it's I'm sure one day we'll come up with a name like Lilu or Maverick or something. But for now, just call it what it is, so people get it.
And I think the brands themselves probably should be naming it. Like your customers should be giving it a name themselves.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. We contemplated with it. So with Blue Bungalow, we're playing around with how we want to call it, what we want to do. We just have to see. Like, I think there's probably going to be a fine line between like giving it a name and making it feel like a human, and then therefore feeling like some people are deceived by that. So like, for example, our general stance, and Microsoft is the same, is like we've gone straight for a shop with AI to just test it. But the general stance from us and Microsoft is like, do not ever pretend it's not an AI. Don't even go down that path. So there's this whole let's go, you give it a name like, hey, this Sally, then I don't know how people will feel about that long term, because I think why people like ChatGPT is because it's like, hey, like, it's a chat, it's GPT, it's not a human. They're not trying to make it a human. They're not trying to say it's a human. They're not even saying it will replace a human. So therefore, like, it is what it is, and it doesn't feel deceptive at all. So I don't know. We've got to play around with it, basically.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting. I totally agree with everything you've just said about the deception side of things, and that's the worst. And we see it already with the rappers, but I think something like this is just easier in a conversation for even the customer service people, at Blue Bungalow, or whoever's using it. Have you tried the new?
Totally get it. No, I get it.
But it's the same as calling it search,
I guess it's like, but search is easy. Have you tried the new search? Have you tried the new live chat? In this case, you'd be like, have you tried the new AI shopping assistant?
Exactly.
It's a bit of a mouthful in comparison.
And do you think initially, once you get a few more of these on board, that you'll be sticking to the main ecosystem of Shopify in the short term?
No, I don't think so. I think you got to pick a lane, So it's like, I think Shopify and fashion is somewhere between 500,000 to 800,000 customers. Shopify, I think total is like 4 million, or maybe it's like 3 million active. I can't remember, but it's a lot. So we'll just, we were familiar with it. It's a great place to start because it's got a lot of small brands that will be open to do stuff like this. So it was just a lane. After this, we'll probably, if I had to guess, it'll be like Shopify fashion, and then it'll be Shopify other categories, hair and beauty, outdoor, electronics for sure. And then from there, it'll be like, cool, let's move to, native, BigCommerce, all the rest of them. And then from there, we would need to, if we did that, we would be ginormous already.
Of course.
But if we were to move beyond that, then you have to move into like non-retail. So like that would be, I think by that stage, you'd hopefully be done and dusted,
exit strategy.
Finished by then.
The thing that amazes me when you were saying before about how quickly it would be to set up where you're hoping to aim for, within half an hour, you get the thing running. How is it learning the data so quickly in that situation? How is it?
So it will depend on how big your database is. So the way it would work is, say you sign up, it will create through AI all the configuration automatically, and there's very few things to configure.
Agent based that's doing all that work?
Yeah. They've got heaps of different ones.
Yeah.
All kinds of things.
Yeah.
So basically, like you'll say sign up, it will validate that you are like a Shopify and fashion, yada yada. Cool, you're good, you're in, and then it will just start creating like your configurations based on all the examples, based on what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And then once it does that, it will start importing your data. So we've already checked, like the importing of the data is the longest part, but it doesn't require any work.
Right.
Like it's basically like, here's your data feed, go off. So my hope is that we can get the customer up without them doing more than half an hour of work. But depending on their database, they might just have to sit and wait.
Yeah.
So like, for example, if you've got 1,000 products, it might take half an hour. If you've got 3,000, it might take 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but then the actual, so it'd be like, hey, go in, configure it, check it out, wait for the products to import. When they import it, give it a test, plug it on your site.
Yeah.
My hope is, I know we can do it for less than half an hour of work. It'll just depend. If you got a database that's 20,000, not variants, like actually SKUs, well, then you might be waiting a few hours,
Yeah, right. Is all this data also stored on your servers? So
this is all cloud. It's all Azure.
Yeah, sorry, Azure servers, not stored within Shopify anywhere. It's all Azure.
No, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, it's all our services, but it's all cloud based on Azure.
Yeah. Well, Michael, I mean, well done. I'm very impressed with it. I was impressed with how quickly it worked. I was impressed with the integration into the sites through to the checkout. And yeah, I've been. You know what I was wondering? I was wondering, when is Google coming up with this? And then you came out with it, because I thought Google would have had a shopping product. Like,
well, they actually have something similar. So even like Perplexity and Google, they have this shop with store or something.
Yeah, or something, right?
Yeah. I saw a video. I can't get it up though, but I think there is like a difference. Like, for example, Google can do okay because they have a lot of data. So you go into Google and you say, I'm looking for, I don't know, I'm looking for blue dresses in size 16. They can win because they have like millions. So if your data is poor or whatever, it can almost keyword blue dress 16, but it doesn't really help you if you're like after certain style. And also if you're the brand, then like when you're on the actual site, unless you want to just become a checkout and you don't want to have any CX, then all of a sudden like it'd be like cool, like, hey, I'm like a dark e-commerce. Like all I do is I sell on eBay, Amazon, and I'm a checkout, but then you got no UX, you got no margins, you got no nothing.
Brand.
Yeah. So they are doing it, but I think they will struggle to do it like that on Google search because it will take a lot of work and it will be just selling clicks. So I think there'll be two parts of it. They will do their part and they'll be great for Blue Bungalow for traffic and, Rebel Sport or Mecca for traffic. But then when you're on site, like that's like where our thing comes to life and says, hey, like I'm specific, I'm nitty gritty. I know all the details for this brand.
Yeah. I mean, and just on the brand, that's one thing I've been telling clients for the last few years. As soon as this came out, it's like, just double down on the brand, double down on building the list. And I think something like this could be very helpful for a lot of brands because they're going to shop. It's going to be easier to shop here with this tool and talk to it rather than me having to go and search and click and click and click. But to quickly ask a question, like you say, and have the experience of someone, a shopping assistant, who can actually sit there and tell you what's what. Thing we haven't touched on. I'm guessing that promotions and specials and stuff like that, will that be how often would you have to update your database so the data's fresh?
Yeah. So it depends what it is. Some things update instantaneously. Right. Like example, inventory. It has to be instant or pretty close to instant. Nothing's ever instant, but it's like a few seconds. Yeah. Product data, it will just depend. Could be once a day. Yeah. Some product, like generally speaking, if the product needs to be updated, it gets updated at the end of the day. Right. So most products don't need to be updated. Product creates pretty much straight away. So like basically everything we've built in a way where it's like nothing is kind of like standard. Yeah. So it's like, cool, does this need to be updated in seconds? Cool, yep, make it work. Does this need to be updated in seconds? No. and it would be too hard and too heavy and too costly. Cool, do that every day. So like everything, that's probably why when you use it, it feels so much more advanced than everything else, because like everything is being considered.
Yeah.
So the stuff that like needs to be straight away, that is, and the stuff that doesn't can wait and waits.
Yeah. All right, that's amazing. I've got a million more questions, but I'll wait till you get more data under your belt and maybe revisit in 3 to 6 months.
We can have another chat in 6 months and with more information and more customers and actually see what the specific metrics say. Yeah.
Anyway, well done, excellent work, and
Thanks,
thank you
Jim.
very much for your time.
No, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.